In a forest far, far away, there was a secret known only to the bravest of creatures. This secret wasn't about a treasure chest or a hidden cave filled with gold. No, it was far more mysterious. Deep within the layers of fallen leaves, where the world seemed peaceful and still, existed a tiny, magical realm. A world so small that even the tiniest leaf seemed enormous, and the trees that lined the forest were as tall as towers. This was the world of the tiny folk. Among the tiny folk lived a brave young leaf explorer named Linden. He wasn't an ordinary leaf. Linden had a special gift. He could ride the wind with grace, gliding over the ground like a bird. Yet, even with his incredible talent, Linden was always curious about the vast unknown that lay beyond the tiny world. Most tiny folk never dared to leave the boundaries of their familiar realm, but Linden, with his adventurous heart, longed to discover what else was out there. One crisp autumn morning, as Linden fluttered about the edge of his village, he noticed something unusual and strange. Spooky wind whispered through the air, carrying a scent of sweetness mixed with mystery. It was unlike any wind he had ever felt before. It didn't belong to the gentle breezes that usually swept through the tiny world. No, this wind felt as if it came from a place beyond the world he knew. Linden's curiosity stirred. "I have to find out where this wind comes from," he said to himself, his tiny leaf body quivering with excitement. He packed his explorer's satchel with the essentials: tiny crumbs of bread for the journey, a piece of cotton to sleep on, and a little drop of dew for water. "Where are you going?" asked his friend, Poppy, a fellow tiny folk with a flower-petal dress who had noticed Linden preparing for his adventure. "I'm going to follow this wind," Linden said confidently. "I have a feeling it will lead me to something extraordinary." Poppy's eyes grew wide with both worry and wonder. "The spooky wind? But no one knows where it comes from. What if it leads you into danger?" "That's exactly why I have to go," Linden replied. "What if it leads me to a magical place? What if there's a world out there we've never seen?" Poppy sighed but understood her friend's unstoppable spirit. "Then at least let me come with you." Together, Linden and Poppy set off into the unknown, fluttering their tiny wings as the spooky wind tugged them forward. The tiny world they knew so well soon disappeared behind them, replaced by strange and unfamiliar landscapes. The trees grew denser, the shadows deeper, and yet, the sweet scent carried by the wind grew stronger. As the two friends traveled further from home, they stumbled upon a dazzling sight: a towering candy castle made entirely of sugar, candies, and chocolate. The sparkling sugar windows gleamed in the sunlight, and rivers of caramel flowed in streams around it. A bridge made entirely of glittering candy jewels led up to its grand entrance. "Is this real?" Poppy gasped, eyes wide in disbelief. Linden floated closer, touching one of the candy jewels on the bridge. It was solid but sweet to the touch. "It's real, all right," he said with amazement. "I think we've found the source of the sweet smell." The spooky wind whirled around them, almost as if guiding them toward the bridge. "Should we go inside?" Poppy asked, a little hesitant. "Of course," Linden replied, excitement bubbling in his tiny veins. The candy castle might hold the key to the mystery of the wind. As they crossed the sparkling bridge, the stones beneath them shimmered with each step, lighting their way to the grand entrance. The door, made of gingerbread, creaked open by itself, welcoming them inside. Within the castle, the walls were lined with shelves filled with every candy imaginable: gumdrops, peppermint swirls, and marshmallow towers that stretched high into the air. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the room. "Who dares enter the candy castle without an invitation?" Startled, Linden and Poppy glanced around. There, standing atop a chocolate throne, was the ruler of the candy castle, Queen Licorice. Her gown was made of flowing black licorice strands, and her crown shimmered with candy jewels. She was both beautiful and a little intimidating. "We didn't mean to intrude," Linden said quickly, "but we were following the wind, and it led us here." Queen Licorice's expression softened. "Ah, the wind. You are not the first to follow it here, but you may be the bravest." She rose from her throne and gracefully floated down toward them. The wind you followed is not just any wind. It's the whispering wind, a guide that only the most adventurous souls can hear. It brings those who are worthy to this world. Linden and Poppy exchanged a surprised glance. But why us? Poppy asked. Queen Licorice smiled gently. Because, my dear little ones, you are destined to embark on a great adventure. The tiny world you come from is just one small piece of a much larger, enchanted realm. And the whispering wind has chosen you to discover the hidden wonders beyond your world. But where does the wind go next? Linden asked eagerly. Queen Licorice turned and pointed toward a set of stairs made of rock candy that spiraled up into a tower. The wind will take you to the next part of your journey. At the top of this castle is a room where the wind gathers its strength. Climb those stairs, and you will find the source of its power. But be warned, the path ahead will not be easy. Despite the warning, Linden's heart raced with excitement. We can handle it, he declared confidently. Very well, Queen Licorice said with a nod. But you will not go empty-handed. With a wave of her hand, she summoned two magical objects, a tiny candy sword for Linden, sharp and gleaming, and a glittering flower petal shield for Poppy, light as a feather but strong as steel. These will help protect you on your journey, Queen Licorice explained. Now go, and may the whispering wind guide you. Armed with their new gifts, Linden and Poppy began their ascent up the rock candy stairs. The path was steep and winding, but they were determined to reach the top. As they climbed higher and higher, the air around them grew colder, and the spooky wind began to howl louder. After what felt like hours of climbing, they finally reached the top of the tower. There, in the center of the room, was a swirling vortex of sparkling wind, glowing with an eerie light. This must be the source, Linden whispered in awe, but as they approached the swirling wind, a deep, rumbling voice filled the room. Who dares to disturb the power of the whispering wind? Linden and Poppy froze. From the shadows emerged a massive figure, a guardian made of swirling mist and shimmering stars. It was the keeper of the wind, a creature as old as time itself. We are adventurers, Linden said bravely, and we have followed the wind here to uncover its secrets. The keeper gazed down at them, its eyes glowing like twin moons. The wind you seek is not just a guide, it rumbled. It is a test. Only those who prove themselves worthy may continue on the path to the enchanted world. Linden felt a shiver of fear run through him, but he stood tall. What must we do to prove ourselves? The keeper's eyes gleamed. You must face the challenges of the enchanted world. Only then will you understand the true power of the whispering wind. With a wave of its hand, the keeper summoned a series of glowing portals, each leading to a different part of the enchanted world. Each portal will take you to a different realm, the keeper explained. In each realm, you must overcome a challenge. Only when you have completed all the challenges will you be allowed to return to your world. Linden and Poppy exchanged a determined glance. We're ready, Linden said. The keeper nodded, and the first portal opened with a soft whoosh. Without hesitation, Linden and Poppy stepped through, ready to face whatever lay ahead. On the other side of the portal, they found themselves in a world unlike any they had ever seen. The sky was a brilliant shade of pink, and the ground beneath their feet sparkled with tiny crystals. In the distance, they could see a towering castle made of candy, its walls glistening in the sunlight. This must be the Candy Castle, Linden said. But what's the challenge? Poppy asked, looking around. As if in answer, a figure appeared before them, a giant made of sugar and candy, its eyes glowing with a mischievous light. To pass through this realm, the giant boomed, you must solve the riddle of the Candy Castle. Linden and Poppy exchanged a determined glance. We can do this, Linden said, and so, their adventure continued, filled with challenges, mysteries, and the ever-present guidance of the whispering wind.